And my name is Michelle Madden. I am the president of the Grand Prairie Chamber of Commerce. Today we are in episode 3 of our journey to inclusiveness, and our guest today is Mrs. Gloria Carrillo, and I'm going to introduce her now. She was elected to the Board of Trustees for GPISD in May of 2017. She works as a general liability case manager for the Legal Center of Jose Angel Gutierrez in Dallas, and is very involved in the community of Grand Prairie, where she has lived for many years. Ms. Carrillo is a strong supporter of public education and GPISD. As a trustee, Gloria's focus will be on student safety and security, career and college readiness, pre-K for all children, expansion of the dual language program, enhancement of the special education program, early intervention for at-risk students, and increase parent community involvement. Mrs. Carrillo has been recognized for several accomplishments, including recipient of the Ford Foundation Hispanic Salute for Volunteer Work, a founding member of the Grand Prairie Cinco de Mayo celebration, GPISD Outstanding Contribution to Hispanic Heritage, Crime Commission President's Award, Grand Prairie Parks and Recreation Hall of Fame, 2017 Grand Prairie Chamber of Commerce nominee for Citizen of the Year, Woman of the Year, and NAACP Community Service Award. Gloria also serves on several boards and committees, including the YMCA Advisory Board, Parkland Hospital Advisory Board, Chair of the Building Advisory and Appeals Board, Chair of the Hispanic Association for Culture and Education, Ford Foundation Hispanic Salute, St. Michael the Archangel Pastoral Advisory Council, and Chair of the Cinco de Mayo Committee. Gloria has 3 children, all graduates of Grand Prairie ISD and all college graduates. She is also the proud grandmother of 6. And so with that, I'd like to introduce our speaker today, Ms. Gloria Carrillo.
Thank you, Michelle, for your lovely introduction. What Michelle has told you about me is my resume, but she hasn't really told you who I am. And I'm going to speak to you today on my personal journey to inclusion and in my progression through my life. I'm first and foremost, like she said, a person devoted to my family and my friends. Secondly, I'm a very concerned and involved citizen that I care deeply about our city and our schools. I'm very proud of the family that Francisco and I created. As Michelle said, we have 3 children, Frank, Delia, and Margaret, and very proud to say they're successful products of GPISD. Delia is a school teacher in Tyler. Frank is in real estate in Rockwell, and Margaret is in South Carolina and in the insurance brokerage business. We have very strong community values, Francisco and I. He was the first Hispanic to run for public office in Lubbock County. I ran for school board. I was elected in 17, and I was reelected this May 20. So like I said, our oldest grandchild is 22 years of age. The youngest is 13. And I was married to my hero and to the love of my life, Francisco, for 50 years. We lost him 5 years ago. I am a mother, a grandmother. I'm an eternal student. I'm a sister, a friend, an aunt, godmother, organizer, and I really feel that I am a social worker at heart. I'll tell you a little bit about myself and my progression to inclusiveness. I was born in Lubbock, Texas. Our family lived in El Barrio de Guadalupe, a segregated community that was on the wrong side of the tracks. On the other side of the tracks was the golf course and the country club addition. On our side, no paved streets, no sidewalks. My father was a laborer, and he was killed in a work accident when I was 3 years of age, and my sister, Maria Inez, was a year old. My mom remarried when I was about 5, and we moved to the Arnett Benson Addition in Lubbock, which was a community that up to that point had not been integrated by any minority group. However, I was really too young to understand that I was different. The new community was absolutely beautiful in my eyes. You know, it had paved streets, it had sidewalks, there were flowers, there were yards, there was a park. My mom found out very early on after we'd moved that we were not wanted in the neighborhood. The community circulated petitions, got signatures, and then they forbid their children to play with us. However, my mom, my stepfather, did not let that deter them. They said, we're here and we're going to stay. As children, you're not aware of the drama that surrounds us. This is, you see, my beautiful family. My mom turned the situation around for us. She told us that she did not want us to play with the children in the neighborhood because they had been badly reared and they had terrible manners, which she did not want us to emulate. In Spanish, the word is called malcriado. I did not know for a long time that this was her way of protecting us from the cruelty of racism. My parents sent migrant workers to work in El Norte to work in the sugar beets. And they hired a wonderful lady, Doña Maria Gauna, to take care of us at home. This lady, what she did was she decided to get us library cards to kind of keep us occupied. And she would take us to the library twice a week. And that way we could hear stories and we could check out books. And this really began my love for reading and studying. To this very day, if I don't read a book or two in a week, I feel really deprived. And I can tell you that during the COVID, when we had the lockdown, if I hadn't had books, I don't know what I would have done. Our reward for going to the Five and Dime was to stop at the soda fountain at Ben Franklin. It was in the back of the store, and our treat was a donut and an ice cream cone. We could buy the donut, we could buy the ice cream cone, but we were not allowed to sit at the counter. We had to go outside to eat our donut and our ice cream. I didn't understand that then, and I sure don't understand that now. This was the very first encounter that I had with racism and a lack of diversity. It was not my first encounter, nor has it been my last. But I promise you, each and every one of you, that once you have felt that yoke of racism, you never forget it, no matter your age, no matter your circumstances in life. What do I stand for? Okay, what do I stand for? Service, education, diversity. I stand for a strong community values. Francisco and I have always been involved in our communities. Like I said earlier, he was the first Hispanic to run for public office in Lubbock while he was a student at Texas Tech. And then he encouraged me and supported me when I ran for office. So what do I stand for? I think we all want happiness, love, success, prosperity, equal opportunity for all, an absolutely equal playing field, which I think education is. We want a wonderful education for all. And I think that to be successful, you have to see yourself as you are. You should be responsible, polite. You've got to respect yourself and you've got to respect others. To me, respect is the golden rule. I believe that as citizens, let's set some goals for what we want our community to achieve. You've got to be a part of the community. And if you want to be successful, you have to recognize opportunity and you have to be ready to knock at that door. Be a part of the community that you have, that you live in. Be involved, be inclusive, and make connections with other people. And finally, let's embrace that journey. I really have had an incredible and exciting journey. Who would have thought that that little girl from El Barrio de Guadalupe, that she would grow to live in Washington, D.C., that she would travel to Mexico, to China, to India, to Malta, and now to the greater community of Grand Prairie. And who would have thought that I would have found such a wonderful partner and companion, and that together we would raise an amazing family. Who would have thought that one day that little girl would sit on our education board? That is unbelievable. Martin Luther King said something that I think that applies here. And he said, human progress is neither automatic or inevitable. Every step toward the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, struggles, tireless exertion, and a passionate concern of dedicated individuals. When we moved to Grand Prairie from Washington, D.C., it was a difficult adjustment for me. In Washington, everywhere you went, you saw people from all the different countries in the world. You saw people speaking different countries, different languages. And this was not the case in Grand Prairie. All elected officials for our city council and our school district are white. There was no diversity. So what did we decide to do? We started a group called Hispanic Association for Culture and Education. We wanted to see what our group could do politically, what we could do to promote our culture, and we wanted to enhance educational opportunities for our minority students. At that time, there was no mariachi band, there was no ballet folklorico with our school, in our school system, and we petitioned the school board for these programs, and these programs are recognized nationally. We started a Cinco de Mayo scholarship program, which is now the largest community event in our city. And this year, in spite of COVID-19, we were able to give 25 scholarships. These are a couple of the students that came to my office to pick up the checks. We gave 25 scholarships to students in Grand Prairie at $20,000. So I can tell you that this program is near and dear to me and to other members of our group. When I graduated from high school, I was told by the counselor when I went in to find out if I was able to go to college, she said, Mexican and Hispanic girls do not go to college. You get married, you have children, and you start a family. I don't ever want to hear another girl hear this. We also started Noche de Navidad. And the slide was shown a little while. Noche de Navidad was, we became aware that there were students that were homeless as identified under the federal guidelines with a school district. My sister, Christine Gonzalez, was the head of the Connections program at that time. And around the holidays, they would call my husband and I that there were people that needed assistance. And then I found out that it was a bigger problem than we thought. So we started our own event, and this last December, we were so blessed that we were able to provide food, 75 to 85 pounds of food to over 260 families. We also provided gifts for 600 children. This is a community event that involves our city, our school district, social service clubs, faith groups, the Lions Club, business community, everyone. And as you'll see in a little while, there's a photo of 3 trucks that are arriving from Tom Thumb. Those were trucks that were filled with food that were going to LBJ, where we had a huge volunteer group that sorted groceries, clothing, and gifts. This is really a glorious event. So we're already starting to work on 2020 event. The lady in the slide is Dolores Huerta, co-founder of the Great Boycotts in California with Cesar Chavez. I was so blessed to meet her. And of course, the Miss Beautiful Sally Moore. What is important to me, okay? What is important to me? Okay, and again, making a way. And obviously my family, my friends, education, community involvement and awareness, safety, fairness, sensitivity, and leaders who share my common values and respect for others. The slide that you saw of the young people picking up their checks from my office, those students, beautiful young people, they're going to be studying at universities throughout the United States. And the slide on the right was one that was held for George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter in Grand Prairie. This was a NAACP event that was held at the police department. And I was one of the speakers there. And I said then that our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about things that matter. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends, Martin Luther King. Our next slide. What can we as citizens of Grand Prairie stand for? What can we stand for? Strong friends, family values. We should all work together for the good of our community. We can pray for our community and our nation. I do believe that the family that prays together stays together. Our faith keeps us going sometimes when we don't believe that we can go forward. As citizens, we have to be informed and we have to be committed. Our public officials should be held accountable. And there's so many service organizations that you can get involved with. Volunteer to serve on our city boards. Volunteer to serve at your church. Volunteer to serve and attend your PTA meetings. Work with our teachers and our students as they begin this new and challenging school year. You do not have to have a college degree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and love, and we need you. We need you. What does our GPISD stand for? What do we stand for? We stand for equity, equality, high morals, and ethics. We honor our students of character each month at our school board meeting. We want all of our students that come through GPISD to get the best education possible. We want to prepare them for the military, for college, or we want them to have a certification in a trade. That is our mission. That is our mission. The city of Grand Prairie and GPISD made political history in 2017 when they elected a Hispanic woman to serve on GPISD board and a Hispanic man in our city council. We are now 3 minorities on our school board with 2 on our city council. I am the second woman, Hispanic woman, to sit on this board. I'm following in the footsteps of Lorraine Sarabia, who served nearly 20 years ago. Our board, our GPISD board, has started a Mexican American history class, which is they're doing a great job. We also approved an African American's history, and we are working on and soon will be implementing a Native American history. Our board recognizes the challenges that exist in our nation at this time. At our June 22 meeting, we passed an equity resolution that passed 7-0. I don't think this would have passed a few years in the past. This resolution is listed in one of the slides, and the sentence that is important to me is the one that states that we stand in solidarity with our students and our community to declare that the lives of Black students and Black people matter. And it says that we will participate in equity and cultural bias training to better understand and meet the needs of our diverse student population. It further states that our Board of Trustees will create a racial equity committee that's going to deal with the matters related to discrimination, racism, or prejudice, and to promote ideas of diversity and equity, to make GPISD more inclusive, and to make recommendations to the board on how can we accomplish those goals. How amazing was it that all 7 board members signed that? Then on our July board meeting, we also renamed Lee Elementary to honor Delmas Morton, a longtime educator in our community, 44 years, a Black administrator, principal, teacher, a little bit of everything. And Mr. Morton was honored with renaming of the school. And so we have to, I'm really excited about the way that our board, the direction that our board is taking. And we must be united for excellence, which is our next, okay? And you see our board members there at the last board meeting. And I feel that our district has done an incredible job in the new way of teaching and the new way that our students are learning. I want to thank all of our SFE employees and their staff, Pat Lewis, our parent liaisons, and every single person that worked so hard this month, this last summer, to provide nutrition to our families. We recently hired Linda Ellis to lead our district after the loss of Dr. Hull. Linda is doing a phenomenal job in leading our district. She has an outstanding cabinet. We have dedicated teachers, paraprofessionals, support staff, custodial staff, and everyone that is dedicated to the health and the safety of our students and our staff. And I know that together we're going to take our district to the next level. We want to recognize too, I want to recognize our technology department. GPISD was at the forefront in making certain that our students had the necessary tools to be successful. That was one of the first items that I voted on when I was elected to the board, when we voted on $15 million for our technology department. And I don't know where we would be now if we hadn't taken that step. So, you know, are things better for all of us? Is there discrimination in our community? Things are definitely better, much better than when I started my journey. Have I felt discrimination in my adult life? Absolutely, absolutely. Mike and I had an incredible time during our campaign in 2017, 3 years ago. However, we can't let that deter us. And I have learned to be tolerant. And I have learned that every day you keep improving yourself. You see John Lewis's quote there. And I'm going to read his quote. It says, in closing, John Lewis said, never let anyone, any person, any force dampen, dim, or diminish your light. Remember that you individually are the light of the world. That's my family, my beautiful family. That was the last family taken in 2014, and Francisco passed in 15. So thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of the chamber and to be a part of this important discussion.
We want to thank you so much. And would you be open to having some questions? Yes? Gloria?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No,
I
that's
thought you were
okay.
speaking to someone else. I'm sorry.
No. I was wondering. So I know I always have a lot of questions, and I imagine some of our viewers do too. So I'm just curious. Do you? I have a couple, but I'll start with one. Do you see yourself as an advocate for purely the Latino community, or how do you see yourself? Is it more for any minority or the whole community?
You know what? I've been asked this before, and in fact, when I was running the first time, that I had people say she's only for Hispanic issues, and obviously I am for a lot of Hispanic issues, but I think that I'm for all of the kids. I think it's important. I want everyone to have the same opportunity. I don't want anyone to be marginalized because their name is Sanchez or Hernandez, or you know, I think that we need to go beyond that.
I agree. And so you were so fortunate. Your mother was so wise in how she presented the issues and the things that confronted your family.
My mom was an incredible woman. I mean, incredible woman. And, you know, that summer that we moved to Arnett Benson, my issues didn't die down with the neighborhood and the kids. When I started school, my mom went to register us, and the principal told my mom that I guess she talked to me and to my sister and decided that I was going to be in special education. And my mom was so strong. I to this day remember what she was wearing and what she said. She said, absolutely not. And I may have been a little behind, but my mom said, hey, this girl will be caught up, and I promise you that she'll do well. And she was so strong and vocal, and she was always an advocate for us.
Well, she sounds
Smart
spectacular.
woman.
Oh, I'm so happy. And so do you have advice for our parents, or maybe both parents and kiddos that might sense that they're, you know, suffering from some prejudice
or bullying or whatever? I do, because you know what? As a parent, I can tell you that, and my kids will tell you this, that I knew the name of every single teacher that they had, and every teacher had all of my information. And I was there for every PTA meeting, for every parent conference. You've got to be involved with your kids, and you've got to be involved with your school personnel and principal, and develop a relationship so that they'll know that if there's a problem, that they can come to you. And I promise you that I never ever said I'm going to take my kid's side on an issue. The situation was this: I'm going to listen, and if you're in the wrong, I promise you that there will be consequences.
Yeah, repercussions, right? Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
I think the best way too is to let the school understand that yeah, it's a fair playing ground, and you know your kids are not perfect, but neither are they. So
Absolutely not. I can tell you that Margaret and Frank gave me a run for their money. I promise you.
really.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any other questions from anyone else? I don't want to hog the floor. Susanna.
Michelle, I just have more of a comment. Gloria, thank you so much for paving the way. And I remember stepping foot in this community 2 years ago and people telling me the first person you need to sit down and have breakfast or lunch with is Gloria Carrillo. And I said, okay, well, give me her phone number. I called you up, and within that week we met, and you just fire hose me with information on this is your responsibility in our community. This is what you need to be doing. This is what hasn't happened, and you need to be the person to do it. And I just felt this feeling of gratitude that this community had someone like you, but also that you also lend a hand up to people. You know, here I am, we're probably 10 years apart in age, and I grew up the same way. Your story, I can relate to it as if we grew up as sisters. And so much has changed, but much hasn't changed. And so I love your story. I love for what you do and the trailblazing work that you've done in this community and that you continue to do. Some people would have just been happy reading their book and relaxing, but that's just not you. In your tacones and your high heels, you're still out there the floor. And so thank you for what you do for youth and then also for adults in this community.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your kind remarks. And you know, I've been on the YMCA board probably 25, 30 years, and I'll continue because I love what you do. I love what you do and what you, for our community. We missed you while you were closed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to add any comments or questions?
I don't necessarily have a question, but I do have, I just want to, I guess, to effectively repeat what everyone said, just to thank you for sharing your story. It's very inspiring. It's also very relevant to today. And there's a lot of parallels in that, in your experiences, even for my own and for that of my family. My parents are immigrants from continental Africa. They also experienced the same kind of prejudice and discrimination, but they were very determined. And a lot of the experience that you just expressed here from your mother is also what I saw with my parents as well. So there's a lot of parallels here. And I just thank you for remaining strong and also being a pillar of this community too. So as you can see, it's continued to blossom, but there's a domino effect of what you have done and are continuing to do. So I just want to say thank you for what you have done, what you are doing, and also for sharing your story.
Matthew, thank you for all you do for our community, and thank you for sharing your story with us. What you've done and what your family has done and contributed to our community.
That was Yinka, actually, Gloria. Yinka with Ethel's Pharmacy was the one who just spoke, but Matthew wanted to speak.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I was saying that was Yinka with Ethel's Pharmacy.
I didn't hear. I'm sorry, but I'm not hearing that. Something's
okay. What I was saying was the last person who spoke was Yinka with Ethel's Pharmacy, and then I know Matthew Lowe did want to speak. So Matthew, you can go ahead if you like.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I just want to concur with everyone saying how wonderful you are for our community, Gloria. I have the privilege of meeting you many years back, and I think our friendship has grown each and every year. When I last spoke at the Unity Coalition, one of the topic was to, what does unity in the community mean? And I called you out because you actually are a huge part
breaking up.
Community, unity in the community. You know, racism, like you said, it exists, and I share this with everybody I spoke to. It exists, but knowing your story and how you have contributed to our society is what makes Grand Prairie such a great place to be. You have always included me. You know, Asia Times Square, our mission is preserving tradition and promoting culture. And there's not one event that I don't think about you, Gloria. And I want to thank you, especially when you included me and my dad, asking for my dad's picture for that celebration we had last year. I can't pronounce it. It's Dias Partes, right?
Dia de los Muertos.
Okay, close enough.
Yes.
But you know, for
Yes.
you to include me, that speaks volume, right? It's about learning and sharing our cultures. So again, thank you for all you do for the city of Grand Prairie and the chamber and just for our community in general.
Thank you, Matthew, for all that you do for our community. And that was another event that we didn't talk about, but first time that we had Dia de los Muertos celebrated in Grand Prairie last November. It was an incredible event with hundreds of people downtown. We're hoping that we may be able to do it in November this year. We're not sure, but we're going to try.
I have a comment for Ms. Carrillo. This is Maria Santi, and I apologize in advance for not having my camera on, but it's for internet internet reasons in our office. But Ms. Carrillo, thank you so much for opening this door and also for sharing your story. I can tell that in these 5 years that I've been working in Grand Prairie, every time that I see you, you always have words of encouragement for me. Thank you so much. This is something that it's golden because sometimes, you know, I was born and raised in Mexico. I came here 10 years ago only, and listening from you and having an advice from you that you as a Latina have been here for so many years, but also the way that you embrace the Mexican culture, that's golden. Thank you so much. And I know that everybody has enjoyed all that you have said, but most of it is that yes, we can. Claro que se puede. Muchísimas gracias.
Sí se puede. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mary. And you know, a lot of people think that I am Mexican from Mexico. I am like 4th generation born in the U.S., but I absolutely love the Mexican culture, the food, the music. I mean, I love it, and I want to introduce other folks to the culture. I think it's important. I think our students, it makes them proud to know where they're from, and I think you have to know where you come from to know where you're going. So thank you for your kind words.
Anybody else want to join in before we start our wrap up? Well, I'll tell you, you have definitely been a huge influence here in the community, Gloria. You are, yeah, I mean, pretty much at anything that is culturally related, I know to expect to see you there. Appreciate that so much. And really for me, with just as a Caucasian person, I mean, my world is so much more broadened with understanding and experiencing the cultures of others, and you being influential in the community, and Maria here on our team at the Chamber, you guys, I hope you understand just how much, not only are you making a way for people of your same culture, but you are also broadening and enriching the lives of all the rest of us who have been maybe in a little bubble. But it's so important, and we're so glad to have you in the community and doing such wonderful things. And whether it's as little as, you know, letting one child know that, you know, they shouldn't be mistreated, and that you know, that's not the way things go, to writing, you know, new guidelines for introducing culture into the school system. I mean, these are fantastic things. So I do want to thank you from me personally, and from us here at the Chamber. We are so appreciative of you here in the community, and for taking the time to tell us a little bit about yourself today. And I know that we're all richer for it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And like I said earlier, I think we all have to remember we are the light of the world. We can do so much. One person can change somebody's heart and mind.
Absolutely. Well, with that, I guess we will conclude our third episode of our journey to inclusiveness. And I want to thank you all for taking the time to join us today and all that went into putting this together. And we look forward to hearing from you. And please keep us posted if you have any wonderful events that we can share with the community.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.